Hey guys, I think we're live. Somebody want to let me know if you can hear me? I think we are. Whoop whoop. Hey Dark, how are ya? Hi Mary Mary. Hey Sean. How is everybody doing? Um so yeah, I wanted to I got done with work this week. I had what I call a work hangover, a who? Anyway, it's where you're so tired you just gotta sleep after work. So I crashed for a few hours. And I had a lot of great information, like very informative information given to me while I was at work. And I would read it all and I kind of like kept tabs on it because it's all starting to like come to light. Victims are getting stronger. They're starting to talk and they're revealing a lot of officials are overstepping their grounds and thinking they're above the law, and victims are standing up. And so we want to give them a shout out and back them for sharing this. And I don't I don't believe in censorship. I believe you have the right to say what you need to say. Hey David Stevens, how are you? Welcome. Um, so, without further to do, let's get right into this. We're going to cover a couple news topics. These happen to be, again, from the Milwaukee Journal because that's the local newspaper that shares a lot of the counties around it, too, as well as federal information. So, this is one of the things shared, and I will be connecting the websites, but this is real important. I'm just going to breeze through it so that you can go read the article yourself. It's a trial for a former federal agent charged with sexually assaulting three women. Now, as the trial gets going, okay, it's from Waukesha County. Now, the reason we know Waukesha County is this is where we've heard a lot about Waukesha County in the Stephen Avery case, as well as the Botwell case and other cases. That's a county where coroners were pulled in, or they were doing autopsies, or perhaps we've heard rumors about, I believe it was Scott Tadich's trailer was rumored, because I've never seen any hard copy, to have been taken to Waukesha County. Okay, my disclaimer, I'm letting the pug in, and she may snore because she falls asleep when I talk to you guys. Otherwise, we're going to hear her scratching at the door and crying. Come on, ladies. Now, mind your manners. We're live. I'm trying to tell them to be good. So, it talks about these three women did not know each other, yet each paint a picture of sexual predator that used their body for his own sexual purposes. According to Assistant District Attorney I can't even read tonight, Melissa, boy, Zalvi? Is that how to say it? I'm not sure. But anyway, it goes on to say that he's facing 5 counts, one of first-degree sexual assault for causing great bodily harm, 3 of second-degree sexual assault, and 1 of third-degree sexual assault. He was charged March 2018. Goes on to say that his attorney told the jurors his client admits to having sex dozens of times with these 3 women, all of it consensual. He says that they basically got jealous and filed a suit. But if that's true, okay, then why is this one woman having to have reconstructive or some type of surgery because of it? It's just shocking. So the jurors will see Charlotte's recorded interview with a detective, Zalvi said, revealing the same arrogance and intimidation he employed against the women. The women who spoke with investigators said that they had relationships with Charlotte at different points in time. All described a pattern of abusive behavior, including steady reminders of Charlotte's powers as a federal agent. One woman told police she was assaulted by him twice in 2017, resulting in injuries that required multiple surgeries. Another woman said he threatened her many times over the years, including that he would kill her, sometimes while wearing his badge. The investigation began in October 2017 when one of the women who admittedly admitted having an earlier consensual relationship with Charlotte, went to the police to report 2 assaults. So I'm going to let you guys come back. There's a lot of information there that will be listed in the description, so you can read the whole story. And the Milwaukee Journal does a really good job of not allowing, how do I say this, propaganda to overwhelm it. It tries, from what I'm seeing, in my opinion. What's the matter? Oh, you need up? I'm the elevator to my bed. There you go, Gretchen. Sorry about that. I just think that the Milwaukee Journal does a halfway decent job of not backing down, of actually just telling it like it is. So we want to be careful because there is so much fake news out there. But when you see stories like this, you know, the power is behind the badge. There's a truth chain. The power behind the badge. And then you think of these good old boy clubs and the mentality that seems to be almost like a mafia family. So let's go back topside here. Let's see. We've got Sean in the house and Mary and David Stevens. Hi, everybody. My kids are Brett. Hi. I love your name. That's great. So I want you guys to take a moment, if you get time. There's going to be another link in here, and it's going to go to Sean Atwood's interview of an ex-cop, and I had a little difficulty watching it. It kept, like, it would end, the video would end, and I'd think that was it, but I'd re-click the video and it'd start right back up where it left off. So it was actually, took me 3 tries to actually see the full video. But this ex-cop is talking about the UK. However, when you think of the Avery case and you think of what Dave Bogata has said in the areas of Manitowoc and Calumet about these parties, and then we see these naked picnic pictures of cops being lewd and so forth in the Milwaukee area, you listen close to what this ex-cop says that Sean Atwood is sharing, and it leaves you numb, but you can tell there is something to it, and it has a lot to do with photography and photographs. And what is the Stephen Avery Halbach case? We're dealing with the photographer. We're dealing with photos found by her bed in a trunk. We're dealing with court case between the victim, the missing victim, Teresa Halbach, and supposedly her married lover, who is getting a divorce, and naked pictures that end her in court. We're dealing with Tom Pierce, who has a Green Bay studio and is photographing the elite, such as Green Bay Packers and other political people. And by day, it seems that it's all on the up and up. At night, it turns into naked bourgeois photos and naked, God knows what. So by day, it's a kitty thing. And then you listen to Sean Atwood's interview with this ex-cop, and he gets right into the details of how they've went from trafficking drugs through the homeless, because the homeless were not somebody you could track, and it was they were considered disposable. It's just heart-wrenching. He's explaining how this boys club type mentality has switched from using the homeless to trafficking the children with the drugs and so forth. And when I was listening to it, a whole lot of dots were being connected for southern Wisconsin counties. It's not a far reach when you're done listening to this ex-cop talk. And even though he's talking about the UK, it's quite alarming how close to home it hits. So let's jump over here. Mary says, so it makes no sense. Sean says, not at all, Mary, and his queasiness is well known. Are you talking, did I miss something? It might be about Brendan and Stephen. Okay. Mary said, we're going to rewind a little bit. Sean, did you know Brendan has a bad blood phobia, so how could he dismember a body? Truly, Brendan is reportedly has a phobia so bad that he will vomit at the sight of blood and possibly faint. So where's the vomit all over the place in the garage, in the trailer? Where's the DNA of the victim? It's pretty hard to have even been in that house, to let alone finding that the person's been murdered and their existence is not being able to be proved scientifically that they were at that location. So let's see here. Mary asks, how do you feel about another 45 days? I feel wretched. I feel like this needs to stop. I feel like this slow stall tactic is, I think we're supposed to be distracted by this, and I think we're making more headway by getting people alert to these cases and how corrupt these officials are. And the officials are the ones that are slowing this up. They're dragging their feet. They're all together. They work for the same team. I'm telling you now that their goal, in my opinion, is to get us to the point that we lose hope and we all walk away and stall out. But we're just going to keep pushing so hard that the kitchen just keeps getting hotter. And we've proven that over time that we don't go away. And Stephen doesn't go away. And Brendan doesn't go away. We're Brendan strong, you know? We're Stephen strong. We've got this. So they better get it into gear. Now, the pug is snoring terribly right by me, so I'm going to try to move her. Puggy pug. Maya, go lay over there, baby. Go on. You're like snoring right in the mic. I apologize. I don't have the heart to like put her in a kennel because she'll cry. And she's always by me when I'm home. So, unfortunately, my voice puts her to sleep. Doesn't help. Let's see here. Sean says he's referred to what is to Mary's question. And he says, not great, but the extension is par for the course and may not be the only one. You know, they need to get it together because, like I said, we're going to heat up that kitchen so hot that they just want done with it. I mean, let's get our guys home. I don't think we should tolerate their behavior as easily as we all are. I think we need to say, okay, you want an extension? That's fine. That gives us enough time to really dig deep into individual backgrounds of the people that took place in these cases, as well as those political figures that are in charge of, you know, I don't know, granting clemency and stuff like that. Maybe we need to really dig into the backgrounds of all these people that have the power, the badges. And if we dig deep enough, maybe we can find out why they're delaying this. And maybe if they just quit delaying it, we would maybe be redirected by something else and leave them alone. But hey, that if they leave us bored, what are we going to do? We're going to investigate their real life. And we're going to find out if they're upstanding citizens that have ethical choices made in their past, or if they have a reason why that they want to drag their feet on letting go of an American hostage, Brendan Dassey, because that's what he is. He's an American hostage by his own people. Everybody failed this kid. We're not gonna. So yeah, what is your motive for detaining an innocent person? I mean, what if he had told you, I saw a meme one time, what if he had told you he was the one that took the shot to JFK? Would you have bought that story? I mean, it's all words. It's a kid. He's pressured. You used actual torture technique called Reed's technique, used in wartime to crack the spies and weird stuff like that against a child that has a very, very difficult time understanding language. And you had his family basically hostage in a motel. What did you leave this poor kid to believe? That if he didn't comply, that his family was in danger? You know, I mean, you're touching him on the legs, the upper thighs. It's disgusting. It shows that as investigators, you guys were out to win it. And why were there no charges when it was state law that any type of questioning on a minor would be taped and filmed, but we don't get it till the third time? where you have to apologize as investigators for previous behavior that nobody can see. What kind of stuff went on? Sick. Okay. I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm really passionate. I'm overtired. I put in a lot of hours. I've decided that there is a new kind of hangover when you're older, like I am, and you work a lot of hours. It's called a who hangover. And it's a work hangover, a who. So I have a who hangover. I'm actually very worn out, but I have 3 days off. And I'm so excited to dig in with you guys. We have a forum going to be starting very soon on nocrimenoTime.org. And this is the person doing the forum. It's an amazing forum. You yourself can post and you can contribute to the conversation. You'll be able to actually add and attach files, images, like posts, send them up, on the ladder, send them down, voice your opinion. And the host of that is Who's Vexed. So I can't wait till that comes out. That'll be ready to go March 1st. So this nocrimenoTime.org community, it's building from the base ground of what we need to keep doing what we're doing and heating up the kitchen. Everybody's welcome. It's public access on all of the sites that need information. So if it's actual court documents, if it's actual evidence photos, if it's anything to do with an actual change in the court case, that's going to remain all public access 100% from here on. The only membership things are the things where we're doing like we are now, where we just get on and we basically chit chat on a podcast and share information. So let's jump back up to topside because I'm just talking tonight. I missed you guys, Okay. So let's see. Not too much going on tonight on the chat. Hi, Jeff. How are you? Jeff Myers. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Sean says that he, meaning Brendan, has been known to faint at the sight of blood. Jeff asks, are Stephen's parents doing okay? You want me to just be honest? No, of course not. Time has taken its toll. Ma Avery has bouts where she can't get out of bed and she's on bed rest. Her health is, of course, aging. I'm not sure on Pa. I know he spends a lot of time with his boys and stuff up at Cribbets and so forth. And I know that Ma is taken care of by her family. But time is not standing still for any of them, nor us, nor Stephen, nor Brendan. I can honestly tell you at their age, we don't have 45 days to go. I mean, I'm not saying Ma's going to have anything happen. I'm saying, why wait 45 days? Let's just get this done. They need to get their crap figured out at state level. And why are they specifically, these individuals, dragging their feet? When we see connections like we did in the Bennett case with Camp, which is the state crime lab supervisor in Milwaukee, is then overseeing and heading the investigation and audit of the Madison crime lab, prompted by the Steve Avery investigation. That's a big deal to me when Camp's the one that got caught for fraudulently affecting evidence and even falsifying evidence in the Bennett case. Got caught about it. There's legal documentation that he had fully admitted to it. They changed the protocol of the state crime lab so that falsified information could slip through to prosecute Bennett. Well, think about Sherry Culhane spitting on that bullet. His assistant is the one, a supervisor of the Milwaukee crime lab. She's the one that signed for Sherry Culhane to change the protocol for that time frame so that she could slide in the bullet fragment test. And it was illegal. It was against the protocol. But guess what? Sherry didn't ask her own supervisors to sign off. She went to camp, and he allowed his assistant to do it. So that's 2 counts against him. First count is admittedly falsifying information, or evidence, I should say, in that case. So then you look at, in context, was the bullet falsified? Well, what did Zellner tell us? It's wood, not bone. That bullet never touched that. So look at the officials. We have the supervisor of the state crime lab in Milwaukee controlling both facilities and admittedly falsifying evidence. What more do we need to say to get these boys home? Because we're not going to leave you guys alone. We're just going to keep investigating. And we're going to dig into more. Okay, I know I talked about Mark Williams. Well, guess what? He was right along with Kemp in the Bembenek case and got caught for this same thing. And then who's Mark Williams? He butt-dialed Zellner and pretended he didn't know about any bones and pretended that he was leaving a message for his boss. Right? We're not sheeple. We're not dumb. We know what you're doing. We know when you did it. We know how you're doing it. And we think we know why. So, okay, let's get back to top side. Sean brought up a great point. Sean Mornay says the revelation of the pictures adds weight to what Dave B says. Okay, so he's talking about Dave Bogata. And Dave Bogata has, from day one, he was the first one that had the strength to come forward and talk about his experiences where these guys came to his bar at the time that he owned and were showing naked photos of prominent individuals and threatening Dave to become, or not threatening, but really pressuring him to become part of this boys club. And then later he's on some sort of other business venture and leaves the bar with a manager, and the manager is killed. And supposedly, according to Dave, she was covered in blood from what he understood, yet it went down on the police report in the investigation she had had a heart attack. So he talked about that kind of stuff. He talked about being on the beach the day that Penny Bernstein was allegedly sexually assaulted. And he spoke of all the police officers that were in the area prior to the actual incident occurring. Now, what that means to me, being a mammer like you guys, we all know that the reason that Gregory Allen wasn't being watched according to the law officials and got away with this was because they were all, I believe it was a dispatcher reported that all the officers, the officials, were already out on a major crime scene. But Dave saw them prior to the incident at that beach. You tell me they didn't know that man was going to do that. They were preparing. Come on, we can't keep playing this game. It's quite obvious. I mean, what needs to be told to a person for them to figure out that obviously the police are not all going to gather at a place in one location unless something's going down? And the dispatcher had already stated that was why they could not watch the guy. They were watching the guy. They were giving him a freebie. Why? Who's all involved in that setup? I'm not pointing fingers. I'm asking who's involved in that setup, because that is a sting. That is a setup. And when you look at that case, you got Kusurik heading that up with Judy Dvorak. And many of the locals are IDing Judy Dvorak in these naked cop photos from Milwaukee, right? So if the locals are saying this is Judy Dvorak, some of them, 100%, will sign an affidavit that that's Judy Dvorak in the cop picnic photos that are naked. Now, she's not naked in this photo, I should rephrase that, but some of the cops are naked in these photos that supposedly or allegedly she's in, okay? And it does look like her, in my opinion. I looked at what they showed me. I can't disagree. There's no way to disagree because they've got a picture of her husband. They have a picture of her. And then they show this picture in this picnic. And it's a couple. And these two individuals standing there look exactly like the photos that they're showing me. I don't know what to do with that because I didn't know Judy Dvorak in the day, so I can't personally ID her. But does it match? Yeah, it looks really, really dang close. So, interesting. Let's scroll down a little bit, see where everybody is. Go top side. I'm going to skip reading that, Mary, because you just stopped my heart. Oh, no, I don't believe that's true. So I'm hoping. Oh, I skipped way, way far, too far. So Justin's asking what the topic is. It's exposing the corruption of the individuals that actually took place in the investigation of the Stephen Avery, Teresa Halbach investigations. So in order for us to understand why they're dragging their feet and just, give us more time, we've decided to heat the kitchen up and say, okay, who are we dealing with ethically? And so we are looking into those individuals as well as other people with badges. The top of the show here, what we talked about was, let's go back and just recap. And we're going to jump to another big deal. So this is a trial for a former federal agent charged with sexually assaulting 3 women. This happens to be in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. I'll be enclosing the link in the description. But, this isn't just your average sexual assault. The third woman, or one of the 3 women, actually had to have surgery, several surgeries following it. So it's quite alarming. But let's go back up and we'll see what else we got here. Shaz says, hey Shaz, how are ya? Shaz says, I feel so much for his parents. So sad they have missed out on their son's life. Yeah, it's really heartbreaking. Sean says, time is not on the family side. Dark Side said, yeah, Shaz, so sad. Shaz says, because they're running scared of what's going to come out. What out on KK? Yeah, thought it was interesting. I read something KK wrote the other day. I had to read it like 5 times because it was an actual admission that the way he runs everything is being deceitful. And so he could relate to this other guy. And I kept rereading it and I'm like, oh, you just admitted that you're a deceitful person and that's how you accomplish things and that's how you reach your goals, is being deceitful. That tells us that right there, that was your goal in the first place, is to lie to the jury. And for the state of Wisconsin to be so unethical to choose such a prosecutor, it tells us right there that we need to look into a lot more about what really is going on behind the scenes. Who's making these laws? Who's creating this? It's almost like a communist thing. They put out the fake news. If the people are poor or vulnerable and so forth, they're basically considered, apparently, from what they're showing us, disposable. And they think that they're above the law. It's just, it's ridiculous. So Sean says they did that at the crime lab at the request of Mark Williams, who admitted misconduct in the office of the DA, assistant DA. You got it, Sean. He's talking about the Ben Bennett case right there. Now, remember, Mark Williams, the same guy that admitted to this, okay? He admittedly was the requester that the state crime lab drop protocol so that they could bend the rules and make the evidence fit the narrative to frame a person. He did that. He sent the request out, Mark Williams, and he's handling the bones and they disappeared. Yeah. Wow. Shaz says that should never allowed in evidence, that bullet that she contaminated. Exactly. Now think about that. Who is responsible for that bullet being allowed in? Who allowed that protocol to get bent? Okay, so you guys do some homework for me and y'all look it up. Now, Eric Cozy does a whole show on it, so you can get your information from there, or you can go online and you can Google it. But who did Sherry Culhane have sign that dotted line? Because it wasn't Madison, it was the Milwaukee Crime Lab. And the Milwaukee Crime Lab falsified information to obtain a conviction against Bembenek. I'm letting you think on that one. So it's time for us to really start paying attention to who are pulling the strings. We're so wrapped up in this case with who our puppets are and why our puppets do what they do and when they did it. We're never asking the questions of who's pulling the puppet strings, right? Who's vexed? Yeah, figure that one out, because they're coming on board. They're going to do a forum for us, and I'm really excited. I also talked to Jim Thyrol, and he's doing a lot of sturgeon fishing, but he's really excited about getting together and doing another interview. And I talked to him, told him I've got a few days off, would like to connect. So you just never do know. We might have another interview from Jim, which would be amazing. He told me he's been taking notes on the side. He wants to keep going with some of the information that he's been trying to get out there. A lot of locals are healing from the little tiff that went on, and they're still quiet, but they send a few people forward to say they're still working on stuff. They're still going to uncover the corruption. They're standing very, very strong, and they feel better than ever about the fact that they're going to get information out there to the journalists that are listening to uncover stuff. So, okay, we'll look at a couple more things here, and then we're going to jump to our next little bit about uncovering how people use their badge to get away with crap. So, and sometimes it's not their badge. Sometimes it's simply their seat, their position. It's all about power. So, Cyan Sampson says, the corruption goes all the way up the line to people in power. It's all political. And on that note, we're going to jump over here and we're going to read this one. Again, people are sending me these articles, so it's not me doing the research. I'm not taking no credit. I don't even believe in credit. I really don't. I believe you should pay cash for everything. No, I'm joking. I do believe in credit in the sense that if you did the work, you should get the acknowledgement, if that is your wish. I don't want credit for nothing. And a lot of us don't. We just want to get it out there. So this is a lawmaker who harassed a Capitol staffer is seeking re-election with support from two female colleagues. I'm telling you, I've got a work hangover. I didn't sleep well for 3 days. I slept for a few hours today, but I am going to wake up because I got days off, and I want to spend time with y'all. So Madison, okay, we just talked about the Madison Crime Lab. We've talked about Milwaukee Crime Lab. Now listen, because these are the people that pull the strings. They're the puppet masters, right? All right, Madison, a state lawmaker who sexually harassed a Capitol staff member and was asked to resign by his party's leaders, is getting public support from two female colleagues, but with others saying he should leave the Capitol. The issue has divided his caucus. So Representative Stosh, oh boy, I'm just going to skip his last name. We'll call him Stosh. A Democrat from Green Bay, right, was barred from serving on legislative committees and caucusing with his colleagues in December after an internal investigation revealed he sexually harassed a female staff member at a Madison bar. He apologized, promised to rebuild what he's broken, He's running for a second term in the legislature and getting the backing from Democrat Republican Amanda Stuck, who is challenging Republican U.S. Representative Mike Gallagher in the 8th Congressional District and the 6th Congressional District candidate Jessica King. So let's get to the chase, you guys. So, Stuck, who says she was sexually assaulted twice, said she supports guns something because he's, let's see, how do we say this? Gruznicki. Somebody help me with that. I don't know. Like you guys always tell me, I should try to read this stuff before I go live, but I just wing it with you guys. So it's truly live. Like I'm a researcher, and I do it with you guys. It's just the way it is. Because he's an effective lawmaker who understands environmental issues better than others in the legislature, and because she believes in redemption. He was certainly in the wrong and deserves a punishment that came to him, Stuck told the Journal Sentinel. I also believe in second chances. But the other female Democrat colleagues say Gunzinski, I'm just guessing, violated the security of a workplace, should provide for all staff, and shouldn't run for re-election. I'm disappointed that he didn't resign. I think that would have been the right thing to do, Republican Lisa Subek D. Madison said. I'm even more frustrated to see him running for re-election and running with the support from women who are elected. And she goes on to kind of say that she felt that he was using power to make these mistakes before. Where did she say? I'm looking. I don't know. You're gonna need to read this. I'm just saying. He sexually assaults people, the women. He gets caught. He's told to resign. He pulls out of some stuff. Now he's getting reelected. And, the people that were assaulted, the women, or the people that know about it, are basically saying, if the person is charged with sexual assault or whatever, what was Stephen sent to prison for 18 years? Wasn't it sexual assault? And they listed it as attempted murder because he punched her in the face and threatened to kill her. He never did any of that. Gregory Allen did, but he wasn't even prosecuted because it was past the statute, the limits. It's like these people that are in our Wisconsin Capitol are being reelected for the same type of crap. And okay, you guys, I'm just so frustrated by this. I'm going to get to Topside. We're going to talk. We got white screen right now. Computer trying to catch up. So let's see. Shaz says she knew it was not the bullet. She had never contaminated ever before. Coincidence. This was the first time. Plus, she really is behind times in the DNA. Yeah, absolutely. She's talking about Sherry Culhane, who, you got to remember, this is the same lady that was in the 1985 wrongful conviction trial. And she was from the state crime lab. She was grandfathered into the program, even though she didn't have a bachelor's or a master's degree. And so she's grandfathered in. She said she had to take some online courses, whatever. And she first misidentified on junk science and sentenced Stephen to prison based on if she thought it was his hair or not. Then later, 18 years later, DNA had been updated. The testing had been upgraded. And that upgraded testing, it was no longer in Sherry Culhane's hands. It was going into a machine, and that hair was going to be scientifically analyzed and produce a report. And that report was going to be a court order to be shared and would not match Stephen Avery at all. So it was out of Sherry's hands. So what happened? Stall. 1 full year. 1 full year before she could bear to put an email together to get him out. So he spent another 365 days in a little cell because Sherry didn't feel like getting her job done and actually emailing the results to get him out. He was out the next day after the results. There was no big court thing. It was just, you're out. You're innocent. Go. Yeah. Thanks, Sherry Culhane, for the extra year of hell, right? So it was out of her hands, yet the guilters like to throw it up in our face and be like, well, she deserves credit because she exonerated him. Not by choice. Don't give her credit. Don't give her that. She doesn't deserve it. So we'll scroll a little bit further. Child abuse by the bullies. Yep. Mary nailed that. Okay, let's say. I I don't know why it's holding, like YouTube is holding some of the like hellos and stuff. It's really weird. Cyanna asks, so was Penny's spouse pressured to join the good old boys club? And yeah, Sean, that is a good question. I agree with you. So is it possible that the candy store owners, think about that, it's like Hansel and Gretel all over again. How, let's talk about another thing that was strange that's never left my train of thought. In listening to Dave recap that day on the beach as an eyewitness of some of the accounts, was that, he was kind of pushed out of the way when he offered help to the woman. She just ran past him completely to the people that seemed to be waiting with a towel for her. Like it's strange, right? If you are horrified and you come across the first human being that's saying, let me help you, and you can see others around. I don't know. I've never been attacked, so I can't really speak from myself, from experience. But I would think the first human contact, you'd want help. Would you go past the first helper? I don't know. Especially if you had been assaulted by a man and there's another man. It's summertime, so, shorts and stuff the guy's in. Maybe you would be threatened by the male, and so you would just go naturally to a woman. I'm just asking because it just seems strange. But also, this is the real point that I was making. I kind of went off there. So the husband reported this in a couple different ways. That Penny reported to him she was going on a 15-minute jog. And when she wasn't back in 15 minutes, he called the police. What? You're at the beach. You tell me you're going to go on a 15-minute jog. I look at my watch. It's been 16 minutes. You're not back. I don't go look for you. See if you're almost back. What? I call the police and they're already there? They already happen to be there? Something's wrong with that. And I'm not saying that Penny played a part in that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not accusing her of anything. I'm saying the timing of the events is strange, to say the least. It's suspicious, okay? Was she a target and didn't know it? You gotta look at it and go, what the hell really happened there? I mean, really. So let's go back. Okay. Sienna says, and the attack was payback for not joining. Ooh, that could have happened. That could really be what happened. Who knows? And in setting it up, if it was set up against them for not joining the good old boys club, right? Let's say it was. Let's go hypothetically, totally speculation. Let's pretend for a minute in the pretend world, the ma'am world. So in ma'am pretend, let's say that sure, he rejects the club. Let's say that he got approached the way Dave Bogata had spoken. He says no. Is that retaliation for him saying no, that they target his wife and then pin it on not the person that they used to accomplish the job, but actually pin it on another bird that they want to nail, Stephen Avery? That would be a pretty deceitful way of running your business. Pretty mafia-like. Set the crime up and then frame somebody else for it. But the crime is actually set up by you guys in a retaliation of what can happen. Dang. That's just wicked. That's just so wicked. Hey, Justin. Glad you made it. Good to see you. Let's see. Hi, Justine. How are you? Truth Train coming in March at full throttle. Oh, yeah. Truth will prevail in March 2020. I hope so. I know No Crime, No Time org is going to be out, and we've got all kinds of stuff happening in March. And it's the spring, So I'm hoping the spring equinox just kind of kicks in the truth. And we learn a lot more. and we get him home. Is her son in charge? Are you talking about Peg L? I missed something. Let's go back up. I don't want to miss some of this. So Sean says, and Williams is the man brought in by the state to quarterback the state for the appeal while Fallon is away. Okay, so did you guys catch that? Let's go through the Mark Williams connections. So Mark Williams was the one that requested in the Bennett case that the state crime lab alter their protocols, which allowed falsified evidence to be entered to convict Bennett for a murder she did not commit. Okay, so Mark started that. Then he butt dials Zellner in the Halbach missing girl case. He calls her up and he pretends he's talking to his boss, that he thinks that they should do an inventory on the bones before they agree to talk about the bones to Zellner, when all the while he knows doggone well that he has called Zellner, and basically they're covering their arse so that it will look like, when we come to light, that the bones actually have been given back to the family, right? The Halbach family. When we learn this, that they can't be held accountable because they didn't know anything about it. Wrong. That's called passing the buck. And it doesn't work because you're still held accountable. One time a judge specifically said to me that, how did he word that? Not knowing the law did not prevent you from being prosecuted. How about that one? Not knowing the law does not prevent you from being prosecuted. You can still be held guilty, even though you don't even know the law. Well, these people knew the law and broke it, so they'll just get a bigger sentence, right? But yeah, if you don't know the law, and the law is that you don't cross the street when the light is red or green, whatever, and you cross the street, you're still going to get a ticket. So it really doesn't matter what Mark Williams was pretending there. It matters that he's playing games, and he did it in the Bennett case, which shows historically over time he has no conscience, and his ethical choices are improper, right? It shows us that the puppet masters that are pulling the strings at the crime lab, it shows that they're unethical. So where does poop roll, right? Downhill. Just saying. So Shez says Peg L was at the top of the strings from the get-go. I'm not so sure Peg was at the top, because if you look at David Giles, that's Giles, he actually, when Stephen gets out of prison, it's almost instantaneously that he hands over his torch to Peg L and then takes hold of the DOT. I'm just saying. Department of Transportation, and what do we have in this case? We have a lot of very interesting things going on with the Department of Transportation reports and VIN numbers and weird stuff, and it's just weird that he was doing great, all that, then all of a sudden, the second Steve gets out of jail, this guy just departs. I'm thinking Peg is just a secondary layer to the strings being pulled. I don't think she's queen of the hill. I think there's a king of the hill somewhere. Yeah. That's just my humble opinion. But I think she's right up there. And yes, it is true that her son is in charge right now. So we didn't learn that till after we voted him in. And that's our fault. That's my fault. Yep. Investigative journalists didn't do a job. Didn't pay attention to who was getting in office. Didn't get the public aware of it, and now we have Peg L's son pulling strings, right? And we got to do better. We got to really, like I said, we've got to get to where, I hate politics. I hate them. It's like picking a dirty turd out of a bucket. I have yet to find a clean way to vote. No matter what, it's a dirty turd in a bucket. I don't want to pick any of them. Not one of them. So let's go. Let's all remember to like this video and show support to Rubberducky. Thank you. Yeah. I know you guys love me and I love you all. So, you know what? I don't really care about, whether we hit the like button or subscribe or any of that, because it's just getting the word out there. And I know the people that are meant to get this message, that stand behind the truth, y'all are going to hear it. You guys are going to be on this. We're going to be digging into the past. Those that are just still sleeping and doing the sheeple thing, they're just walking on, don't want to talk about politics, and I don't want to get too deep into, how people are, why they got their job, then they're going to basically be allowing themselves to fall into the entrapment that the political people are kind of waiting for. They're hoping that we just are so dumb that we're numb to it all and we'll just blindly let them continue what they're doing. But we've just got to get our hands dirty, and we've got to actually read some stuff, and we've got to share. We've got to get the word out there so that people aren't terrified. Locals are coming together more and more in Wisconsin. Being right in the heart of Wisconsin, I get exposed to the strangest stuff. So I'm going to give you this. I'm at work. I'm talking to a lady. I'm not going to say anything about the woman, about her identity. I'm talking to a lady that I've known for, probably about 3 months. And she asked, we got into a personal question about what we do with our free time. And so I told her to check out my YouTube channel, Rubberducky, about wrongful conviction. I told her I covered cases like Stephen Avery and Christine Rudy, which was in the town we were in at the time was Thorpe. So if you're familiar with the Christine Rudy case, then you'll know why Thorpe's important. And she's like, oh yeah, I used to babysit Sean Rudy. And I'm like, get out of here. And she's like, 2 different times I babysat him. I knew his family really well. And I'm like, so, it's really interesting to me from my standpoint. Do you feel what do you feel? Did he do it or anything? And she just absolutely said, oh yeah, she had no doubt in her mind he did it, and that he was fully capable of doing it because she knew of him for his whole life. And I said, well, I find that interesting because I've always thought to myself that and I was explaining this to her about the Halbach case. She was not familiar with the Halbach case at all. Like, she did not know who Steve Avery was, nothing. And so she goes, well, that'd be so strange because Christine Rudy was such a bizarre murder. And I said, yes. She goes, to be shot in the head, dismembered, burnt, and then her body be spread all over. And then you're telling me that this Halbach lady had the same thing happen and that she went missing 12 days prior to Christine having this happen. She looked at me and she honestly said she has nothing to do with YouTube. She's not ever done an interview. She's just a true local that I happen to know. And she said, is it possible Sean was in the area? Really? Really? And I'm like, I don't know. She said, well, he went on a drug spree and he vandalized and he went all the way down to Iowa and he stole stuff and he actually robbed many taverns, according to what he said. And she's like, did he go somewhere near that area where that lady got that done to? She said, because isn't that bizarre that both of them had the same thing happen? And I'm like, I don't know. That's what I ask all the time. I said, go on my channel and watch me. And she's like, I can't believe you do that. I've known you for 3 months. I never knew that you even had a channel or that you even did anything besides, med tech. And I'm like, I know. So it was interesting. And that's a little share of my real life. So with that, I know the locals are totally standing up. And so I think we're going to see a chain of events happening because you guys are giving them strength, whether they're talking directly to us now or not. They're watching you guys and they're getting strength and inspiration from you guys. So keep up the good work on the media for them. Keep Kim Ducat safe, Courtney safe, Jim safe. All the locals that are talking are going to be coming forward. We're going to have to keep them safe too. So let's go back up. I think we're just about done with this live. We're about 8:20 p.m. here. But we can't just walk away without talking about Topside here. So we're going to go ahead. We'll go through Topside a little bit, maybe about 10 minutes here. And then I think we're going to call it a night. I just wanted to touch base with you guys. I am very tired. I do need to lay down, I'll be honest. I got somebody at my door that doesn't know I'm doing a live. Okay, hold on. Shh, I'm doing a live recording right now. Sorry, sweetheart.
I need to borrow some paper.
Okay, I'll give it to you in a little while. Sorry, guys, that's my son. Okay, so let's go topside. Do. Yeah, the same player, Sean. Sayana said. Shaz says, well, that cop that said, sure, he got Steve after his wife was threatened by Steve, she was spreading rumors about him, so he was trying to get her to stop. Cop hubby decided Steve was going down. Oh, yeah. You know, he challenged the boys club, right? And I think that whoever would be the top of the boys club at that time in that area, like, it's like Sons of Anarchy, isn't it? Have you guys seen that movie? It really reminds me of that. It's really bizarre. It's like it's all twisted and it's a mess, but it's a boys club. And if you don't participate in the boys club, from what I'm getting from the locals, then your loved ones are killed and hurt. And this boys club, it's got factions of different levels. It's ridiculous, and it's dangerous. And what are they really doing? I mean, again, I'm going to mention the link that I'm going to be attaching to this video about Sean Atwood's video. Go watch that. I think it's about 40 minutes long, but it came in like 12-minute intervals or something. You have to click it a couple times to get it to work, to be able to get the second half, or at least I did. But it was well worth it. It's an ex-cop from the UK that basically shares that the gangs, as he calls them, and he talks about how children are being trafficked and used and the avenues that they're getting to, and it's quite alarming and shocking. Always the same players in the Bembenek, Hochstetler, and Avery case. Good point, Sean. Very good point. I'm trying to figure out your name, if I'm going to say it right. I just hate if I say it wrong. Malaya? I think I said that right. Hi, welcome to the show. Jamie's here with us. Jamie Van Hoot and Hugh Fraser, or is it Phaser? Yeah, like I said from day one, I don't care who you are, you know me. I've always thought that Dave was sincere. I always saw honesty when I watched him, and I got that from Steven too. And they're the two that haven't changed their stories. They've said the same thing from day one. So I feel Dave Bogata has a very lot of credibility. And, I used to take heat for some of the things I would come up with too. And they were more or less just seeds. Now people ask, a lot more questions. And I think Dave did that the best. I think he planted seeds of awareness, and he asked questions, a lot of questions, that to this day we're still asking some of those questions, and we shouldn't be. We should have answers. And in other cases, those questions have led into answers that are just shocking. Now we're looking at these cop pictures, and I'm going to tell you, the first time that I checked my phone and there was a string of 8 pictures, I think it was 8 pictures of these naked people on these tables in front of a picnic with kids in the pictures, the first thing that came to mind, I didn't even know who they were from or what they were about, because I hadn't checked that far. I was just doing the viewfinder. I thought, and I think I typed something of the fact of, there's Dave's proof of pictures that fits what he's saying, And it wasn't from Dave, of course. It was from someone else that had sent them to me. And it was locals that had sent these pictures saying, we know who some of these people are. As a group, we know. We've had a meeting, and we know some of these people in these photos. And I was like, for real? And they were like, yes, for real. And I was quite shocked when they started explaining it. But it does. I'm telling you. Milwaukee counties and Kenosha and Fond du Lac and Racine, Appleton, Green Bay, Manitowoc. These are all the cornerstone of Wisconsin. These are counties that are fully connected. And again, I'm going to repeat myself about like the Christine Rudy. 13 counties participated in the Christine Rudy case. And they had all hands on deck in the Halbach case. So how many counties of the state troopers did we see? Huh? You got 186 law officers entering and exiting Teresa Halbach's alleged home. How many counties did that cover, right? So is it a far stretch that we're dealing with the counties intermingling at picnics and such? You really think counties don't join together a little bit? Well, of course they do. Sean says, in Wisconsin, all roads lead to Tom Kasurik. Yeah. True statement there. Very true. I'm looking to see if there's anything else we should share. Okay, Sean says, Hugh, more and more people are listening to Dave B., and I know he has spoken with KZ. Yes, he has. He also says, Josh Call, keeping the corruption in the family. Yep. Shaz says, sadly, they are all dirty, living in Oz. Yeah. Hey, we're not in Kansas anymore, right? We're in Wisconsin. Oh my God, you guys, in my head, I can see Kratz. And he's one of them flying monkeys. And Pegella's one of she's the wicked witch with the, oh, I'm melting. Oh, God. Oh, you're doing my head in. I'm loopy from being tired. Okay, let's see. Mila says he's late. He or she, I'm not sure. Need to watch the stream again. Hey, Martha, how are you? That the locals come together, she says, is most important. They are the voters. They make the calls on who is in office. Yes. Jamie says, conceal and carry in Wisconsin, only way to survive. And Melia says, yes, it's great locals come up. Yeah, Sean Atwood, hats off, dude. You are one of my peers I look up to. I just find you incredible. Your investigative journalism is top notch. And I do not miss an episode. I also want to give a shout out to Andrew Whitehead, doing a great job out there. Also, another one is Mind Shock. I appreciate everything you guys do. These are people that are really focused on the bigger picture. I get that some of this other information is important, and I think that everybody's doing a great job of bringing awareness to the case. Eric Gozzi's doing good. Foul Play's doing good on it. I think we just all need to get on the same page, which I've been on for a long time, and that's to not allow any type of drama or redirection from our focus on the case. If we can all just continue to maintain our focus, we will get to our goal, and we all have the same goal. That's to bring home the boys and to reveal all the true corruption and protect our kids and our people. So that's really important. Let's see here. Hi, Dee. Good to see you. Earl Phillips, good to see you. And he says, if the boys club does that stuff at a park, what do they do behind closed doors? Again, I'm going to point out Sean Atwood just put out an interview with an ex-cop. He tells you what they do. You have to watch about 12 minutes in before you start getting to the good stuff, to where you really, but you may have to rewind and watch the whole thing, not just right 12 minutes in, because he builds it up and explains why, and it is shocking. But it will leave you sick to your stomach and numb. But when you're done listening to it, you have a very clear connection as to what could possibly be going on down in the cornerstone of Wisconsin and some of the other corrupt areas. Sean's in London, UK. And Mary's in Yorkshire, UK. And Mary 303030 says Dave has nothing to gain making those videos, only risking people thinking he's a total whack job with his story. I'm from Chicago, so his truth sounds about right to me. Totally believable. Sean said, yes, Earl, makes one wonder. And Mary says, the world is watching. Sienna says, yes, Earl, child sex trafficking, drugs. Yeah, you guys got to watch this, because from the perspective that he gives, it's quite alarming. Hugh says, thanks for that on Mark Williams Ducky at about 28 Mark. Also, good observation about the communists, like Big Brother societal control. Who's pulling the puppetal strings? Exactly. I mean, I get that we're beer and brats. I get that we're the Green Bay Packers. And we have a lot of German background here that, is sustaining our culture in this area. We're big cheese heads. I get that. And there's a lot of beer and brats. I mean, I'm from the South personally, so I was quite shocked that there was a different culture up here in Wisconsin, and that is at the death of someone, it is generally in Wisconsin, to pay your respects, you literally go to a bar sometimes and chug a lug. And I was from a good old Baptist church where, you grieve a different way. Everybody processes it different. But you look at our brewing companies, we have them all over, and it's really gotten to be to where I feel like the poor in the area and those that are considered weaker of the races, because we're single moms, or we're yellow moms, or we're brown moms, whatever our color of our skin is, or we're dads that don't fit the good old white boy description. We seem to be thought of as expendable, and we can just rot in jail, or we can the other ones, they can commit crimes that are things that we didn't even do. We're not even doing the crime, and we're getting framed from them and thrown in jail. And we're all living on Avery Road going, we can't trust anyone around us that works for the law, right? Well, I shouldn't say that, but most of them, because we don't know which ones are bad. So, okay. But yet these puppet masters that are in the political field, that are running crime labs and suggesting crime labs falsify information, they're actually committing the crime and then getting reelected. How is that possible? Journalists have failed. They're not doing their job. They're going to some sort of a printout that the sheriff has put at the top of their letterhead, that the sheriff's faxed to every single news, media, social, whatever, and they're literally reading from a teleprompter what it says. Where is the investigation in journalism? Where did it go? Why are we being fed fake news? Why are we buying fake news? How did it get to a point to where we can be told a complete lie and then we just accept it? We don't look at it and say, what the hell is that? We've got to wake up and we've got to question, how did Josh Call get to be the governor when his mother had done this? How did we allow that as people? What can we do to prevent that? What awareness do we need to do? Well, I'll tell you, we need to look at the puppet masters that are there now. Who are they choosing in their legacy? Because you think these elections just happen because we vote? They choose the turd to put in front of us to pick, okay? So they know they're going to win no matter what, because it's the shell game. You got to remember, it's the shell game. So we've got to dig the dirt out. We've got to shine the light on it. Yeah, Justin, I take heat all the time. I have people asking me if I'm scared. Yeah, I could let fear get into my world, but I'm just a journalist, and, I got targeted just like everybody else on YouTube. It wasn't just me. It was everybody on YouTube because of COPA. And that came from the fact that YouTube itself got caught selling children's private information of their location, as well as other stuff about children, to third-party individuals. And that's a big privacy violation under child's protective laws. I want off that venue. I don't want to be a part of something that is collecting data from unsuspecting viewers And I don't want to be pointed at and saying, you're supporting that kind of bullcrap. No, I'm not. So we're trying to get advertisement free to get out from COPA. Also, I'm tired of their censorship. They don't monetize, so I don't give a crap about that, but they censor me. I keep getting warnings that I have to change my title. I've had to absolutely lose 2 of my programs because it was told to me by YouTube that it was controversial and even dangerous information. I'm like, really? Whatever. I'll just try to soften what I say. I'll try not to say somebody's name, whatever. So we're going to get out from under the censorship and supporting their support. I actually support the COPPA law very much. I don't think anybody should be harvesting any information about children. And so that's why I went out from under the advertisers, because they're the ones that are doing it. And YouTube's was facilitating it. I don't believe they are now. But still, it's a concept that they were comfortable with it till they got caught. I'm not comfortable with that. So we're going to do the nocrimenotime.org. It's an absolute wonderful community, and I'm so excited again to tell you guys we've got Who's Vexed coming on. They are someone that expresses themselves very well on Reddit, and they'll be able to bring it to light some things that I've been a fan of for a long time. So I couldn't be happier that our forum will be handled by them. It's like getting a excellent surgeon to do your surgery. You just feel very confident that they can do the job and that they'll do it with just grace. This is an individual that has no interest in fame whatsoever. They will not be seeking fame in any way. They are so goal-oriented on getting the truth out there, and they also do send me information to share with you guys all the time, and they work for the Truth Train every day. So it's a huge asset for our community. You're all welcome. It's public access to all the documents that are related to court of any kind, post or previous or during trial, post conviction, you name it. All documents will be public access at all times. All photographs of the trial evidence is also public access, as well as some of the other information. There's huge perks for us if you are on file sharing on No Crime, No Time, because you can actually create files and add your own interest party. So let's say that all of a sudden you wanted to do Daniel Holtzclaw. Well, he's already on there, but let's say he isn't, and you wanted to add a file and start uploading court documents or photographs, you would be able to do that as a member. So members will have that luxury of file sharing to the public, as well as you'll have the videos and the video blogs. You'll have all kinds of stuff. So I'm very excited for all of us to have a place to call our home. Okay, let's go through a few more of these. Just curious, when the locals say we mean Manitowoc County folks or the state in general. I'm in Utah, and that's from Jen T. When we say locals, I'm talking about Manitowoc County and the surrounding areas, kind of the cornerstone of Wisconsin. So it's kind of like, for instance, I live in 2 towns that we actually just say the 2 names together, and that's how close we are. And there's a lot of counties that interact, kind of like when you get your local weather report, they'll list out the surrounding counties that are going to be affected by the tornado warning or watch or whatever. That's what I'm talking about when I say locals, okay? I hope that helped. Hugh says, anyone know whether the National Eagles Club have any concerns about their Manitowoc branch? I haven't really dug into it, but I do know that Eric Cozy is covering a lot of that. So I'm wanting to get time to actually sit down and watch his videos. I think they would be very enlightening with some of what the locals are explaining to me. So Earl Phillips says they kept these photos hidden all of this time out of fear. Did Teresa have more recent photos they wanted? She did booty shots on the side. Not that hard to come to conclude that she probably did. Yeah, how hard of a leap is it to wonder if there was some sort of photographs that the cops wanted that was in Teresa's trunk, is what he's saying. Or, how hard of a leap, big of a leap do you got to make? It really, what kind of photos were also in that trunk by her bed? Hugh says, is the Jimmy Savile story in England well known in USA? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm just kind of starting to dig into the political side of the puppet masters to figure out why they would be dragging their feet like this, because I get that they know they made a mistake, but why not own up to it, get it under the bridge and move on? I mean, what is there something bigger that we don't know that they're hiding, that they can't afford to come clean with? I mean, what's the deal? Okay, so Martha asked, the woman married to the man TH was having an affair with, what is the wife's backstory? Who does she know? Good question. So she's talking about Casey Shack, who was married to Bradley Shack, and Bradley was having an affair with TH. Now, Casey was pregnant at the time, and she filed for a restraining order and then turned around and filed, Casey did, and then turned around and filed a divorce immediately. I do know they went to court over naked pictures of Casey and Bradley that Teresa took, and Teresa did accompany Bradley Shack to court over those photos. Those photos were found in the trunk by Teresa's bed, so very interesting there. Hugh says, Dean and Earl, yes, that sounds right. And Teresa's journal and video both gave consideration to the end of her life. Somewhat unusual for her age. Yes, not only unusual for her age, but the story that Tom Pierce, her boss in Green Bay at the photography studio where she was supposedly partners with or an employee of, he kind of rambled on about her being harassed and not sure who was calling her, and she didn't want to talk to him and all this. It makes you wonder, was she being blackmailed, or did she have photos she shouldn't have? I don't know, but it makes you wonder. Melia says, Earl Phillips, you can put compromising photos in connection with the supposedly dead photographer, something that makes you think. Right. I have heard on one channel that TH was definitely taking porn photography. Well, yeah, she was. Shaz says that. Sorry, I think I said Sean. Sean says, if that was the case, Earl, they get rid of Teresa, frame Stephen, eliminate the threat of the pictures, and kill the lawsuit. Two birds, one stone. Wait a minute, Sean. I don't think you counted that out. They'd get rid of Teresa. Okay, so she'd be the photographer in that scenario, that man pretend picture. So that'd be a big deal. They'd frame Stephen, and they'd get the original pictures that they want rid of, and they'd kill a lawsuit. So that's four. That's four birds with one stone. Holy crap, right? So, let's see. Mary 303030, the Highwire on YouTube, just interviewed a Google whistleblower Thursday. Google censoring information and deleting whatever does fit their agenda exactly. So that's what I'm trying to do, is get out from under the censorship. I do get warnings from YouTube, and I just keep going with the flow till the website's built. That's all I can do. Malaya says, let's see, maybe you did two things at once, Teresa, with photo and Stephen with civil suit, similar pattern to Bembenek. Maybe. True. We're starting to see a great deal of, very familiar territory. For instance, the bullet. So in the Bembenek case, they could not go back and post-conviction and fight that the bullet was the murder weapon, because the bullet supposedly vanished in a flood and was all gone bye-bye. In the Avery case, supposedly, the state crime lab, actually, Sherry Colhane supposedly coughed. Now, why she isn't wearing a face mask? I mean, duh. Her spit lands on the alleged murder weapon, the bullet, that we know isn't the right one, but it's the bullet the state at the time is maintaining or alleging that is the weapon that killed Teresa, allegedly. I can't say allegedly enough because we're dealing with state crime lab and their theory. Okay, so this bullet is used up and gone. Bye-bye. And the protocol has to be changed for that bullet to be allowed in the trial, because as of that point, the case would have ended in a dud. There would be no case. Murder weapon is gone, right? So they have to break the laws in order to get this testing through in this case. So who actually breaks the law and does that? The same guy responsible in the Ben Bennett case that did that to frame her. So, yeah, Sean, there was this email. He's saying, let me read his comment first. Shaz, she was doing nude, but I have never heard about the porn. So apparently, I've read an email. It's out there, and it's about her doing porn shots, and it's a friend saying she'll send her more information about porn shots that she had done real good at the party and all this kind of stuff. And so Teresa was indeed doing porn shots, according to this email. Because it's like thanking her and giving her more business, sending her more business her way. And so, yeah, by day they're doing, kiddie family photography and focusing on infants and children and toddlers and families and all this. But by night they're into the porn and bourgeois photographing. And Teresa, even her clipping, her media advertisement was showing up under the genre of adult entertainment. Whether that was something that the web chose it to be or not, you have the choice to go in and change that setting or report that as a wrong setting if it's affecting your business. Yet she didn't do it. She left it under adult entertainment. So very interesting when we have the cops in these naked photos and stuff, and somebody, that takes pictures that disappears and then has negatives and stuff of naked people in the bed by her, or in the trunk by her bed, and she ends up in court over it, and then the cops still find the pictures in the trunk after court. She's still holding on to the negatives of this couple, and she's had an affair with the husband whose wife is pregnant and gets a restraining order and a divorce all in one fell swoop. This isn't the little nun Christian girl that Catholic girl that Kratz painted to the jury, is it? This is somebody that enjoys going to karaoke to the bars. Yet in the pictures we see, she's knocking back shots with rows of other people. So she's drinking. And she's having affairs. And she's doing nude photography. And she's working for Auto Trader. And she's running around behind, following the lead of a, DOJ taking over the route for Auto Trader, and she's wanting to quit, and Auto Trader says, come on, pleads with her and says, come on, do one last job, just a Stephen Avery job. So she tells Tom Pierce, according to Tom Pierce, that's her last time that she'll be with Auto Trader. Pull this one last job, and then she's quitting. That's her last job. It'll be Halloween. And then she's gone. Poof. How'd she know all that, right? Yeah. Yeah, did she meet KK when she went to court? That's a good question, Martha. Hugh says, yeah, Seville got away with murder, probably literally for decades. Weird-looking character, obviously pedophile. Made a big thing of working to help kids. Sound familiar? Well, I'm just going to throw this out there. Tom Kasurik retired to work at, guess where? I believe it was with the boys, the youth program. Was it the YMCA? Where was it? Somebody do some research. I know it was to help kids. Was it Big Brother, Big Sister? It was all kid founded. Kind of interesting, isn't it? I'm not saying there aren't upstanding citizens and people that want to help kids. I'm just saying you get corrupt individuals that have shot their own brother in the head and he didn't press charges, and he's working with kids. Please tell me that we're not stupid as a society to accept that. But yeah, we are. He did. He worked with kids. Shaz says, yes, for the trial, they never ever looked into TH history and who or what she did and was. Can give a lot more suspects, but they wanted SA, so ignored the victim profile. And what's interesting, Shaz, after Making a Murderer 1, and it was January of 2016, we all started to really dig in online. And by March of 2016, I decided I was going to do true victimology. And when I started coming out with this stuff about these naked pictures and all this that she was taking and stuff, oh my God, I was told, here's your tinfoil hat. You're a liar. You make stuff up. You just want to get media attention. You're just wanting to be famous. You're cashing in on a poor victim. And I was treated like pure garbage. And all I was trying to do is to let everybody know the victimology was not matching what the state had told the jury. Weathered it just fine, okay? But it was to the point I was being threatened. People were trying to look up my home address and putting public information out there about me that was private, or putting things private about me, going public with it. It was just horrific, and bullied me back into getting my mouth shut again. And when I did, and I went offline, all hell broke loose in my real life. So I just got back online to protect myself. I found it really interesting watching that Sean Atwood, there's another plug for him because he's incredible. But anyway, that video where this whistleblower that was a retired cop, he talked and they asked him a question and he said, staying in the public's eye is what keeps you safe. And I'm like, damn right it is. That's true. So keep Brendan in the light, keep Stephen in the light, Courtney Skinner and Kim Ducat and Jim Thyrol and me, and those that are working hard like Eric Cozy, keep their name in the news, and Bruce McGuire and Andrew Whitehead. We need to help these people to make sure that if they're doing this job, that you guys are supporting them, and getting their name out there so that the world is watching. Okay? So we're going to leave off with a couple things here. And that is, I'm reading to see what one I want to grab. Justin Limick, let's do yours. Don't forget, the defense was denied to have someone there to witness the testing of the bullet due to possible contamination results, yet Big Hair contaminated it herself. On that note, you guys, I love you very much. I need to get some sleep. It's almost 9, and I'm typing to you all. There you go. Anybody want to throw out any last thoughts before we disconnect? I sure appreciate you guys joining me when we do these lives. I just feel like if we don't share this news and actually talk about it and get more highlights on these puppet master strings, if we keep talking about the puppets, we're just being distracted. Yes, we need to stay in tune with how the puppets responded so that we can get the Brady violations. But listen, there's enough Brady violations all day, every day to get both these guys out of prison. We need more than that. We need to heat the kitchen up. And in order to heat the kitchen up, we're going to have to fry some bacon. Okay? Just saying. Love you guys. That was pretty rough, but I'm going to end the stream. Night, guys.